Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Tahisha Moyes with Eric Chilton. Maddie Gardner has the day off, rightfully so, since it's her birthday after all. I do not believe in working on your birthday. In the meantime, though, me and Eric are here to make you feel informed, connected, and let you into our world. And use your hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected with us on social media.
All right, so big news today. We'll get started talking about the PGA Tour. They are announcing the rest of the season would go on without fans. So what does that mean? That means no fans will be allowed at the Wyndham this year. That was, of course, a very big deal. WFNY News 2's Amanda Ferguson at Sedgefield Country Club, where the Wyndham will take place without the fans.
Eric, it'll look a lot like this here at Sedgefield Country Club this time next month, without fans here in attendance for the Wyndham Championship this year. Now, normally we see fans crowded like this, but we'll have to wait until next year to see people cheering in Greensboro. The PGA Tour returned to action in mid-June, and ever since then, there hasn't been any fans in attendance for any of those tournaments, and it will stay that way for the rest of the season. Wyndham Tournament Director Mark Brazil telling us about this decision.
If you look at it and you start seeing the COVID-19 numbers that we're seeing around the country, this probably makes a lot of sense. We had some really good discussions with our title sponsor Wyndham and the PGA Tour, and so we all kind of came to the conclusion that this was probably the best way to go, just so that we could have the safest, and we wanted to be with the rest of the tour and make sure that we were part of their plans.
The Wyndham Championship is scheduled to take place here August 13th through the 16th, and fans are just going to have to watch it on TV this year.
Amanda, thank you. A Greensboro DMV location is reopening after closing as a safety precaution. The East Market Street location closed while an employee was being tested for coronavirus. The plan was to remain closed and deep clean the building if the employee's test came back positive. We now know the building will reopen tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Well, time to grab your phone or visit our poll, WFNY.com/vote now, and make your voices heard. Governor Roy Cooper said sometime this week we'll know more about what schools could look like in the fall and if the state will move into phase 3 of reopening on Friday. But in the meantime, we want to hear from you. What phase of reopening should North Carolina be in? Your choices are phase 1, 2, or 3. North Carolina was expected to move into phase 3 weeks ago. Governor Roy Cooper announced that he would delay the move until coronavirus numbers either remained steady or began to fall. Now, over the last week, we've seen deadly trends where hospitalization numbers reached record highs several days in a row. Now, today's numbers seem to be leveling off as hospitalizations fall down to just more than 1,000 people, with 80% of hospitals reporting. Case numbers have also been on the rise. Today, those numbers are up by more than 1,800, and the state has more than 87,000 coronavirus cases. All right, Eric, let's take a look at the results right now. Phase 1 coming in at 65% is what people would want the state to be in. Stay in phase 2 is getting 11%, and phase 3 getting 24%. I got to say, I'm surprised, Eric, that a lot of people are saying we need to go back to phase 1.
Yeah, that's fair. I think these numbers from, neighboring states and other states in the South, and you look at Florida and South Carolina and Texas and some of those, I think it's scaring a lot of people, thinking like, hey, we can back things up a little bit and see how it goes. But I am surprised too, Tahisha. I thought people would probably just want to stay where we were.
And, if this happened in North Carolina, it wouldn't be really the first state to regress so much. California just announcing today that they are reclosing all of the restaurants and the bars, movie theaters, everything, because their cases are too high.
Yep, we'll see how it goes. Kind of surprising numbers there, though, that's for sure.
All right. Well, if you need to get a coronavirus test, there is free testing happening in Guilford County this week. Health officials will be at the Moorhead Recreation Center Wednesday and Friday. That's at 101 Price Street in High Point. Testing will be from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Now, you do not need to have an appointment, but the wait could be longer if you don't schedule one. You can call the health department to schedule that appointment. And when you go, wear a mask.
So he is not only the oldest living U.S. president, he's also an advocate for safety when it comes to COVID-19. A recent tweet from former president and former First Lady Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter. It is going viral, and for good reason, too. It's the cutest thing here. The two tweeted a picture of them each wearing the face mask. This happened on Saturday morning. They sent that out. They're part of a bipartisan push around the country, really, to get people to wear masks and slow the spread of the virus. Since it came out this weekend, by the way, it has received thousands of likes. And by the way, those two just celebrated their 74th wedding anniversary. In other news today, Procter & Gamble confirmed that one of its employees did test positive for coronavirus. This was at its Brown Summit plant. The company says it did not shut down after that case, and some employees reached out to us as to whether that followed the state and federal guidelines. So WFMY News 2's Grace Holland joins us live with a closer look at how companies are supposed to handle reporting this. Grace?
Federal law requires companies to protect the identity of an employee that is diagnosed with coronavirus, but what they have to tell their employees who may have been exposed is a lot more vague. Now, the state level offers a little bit more guidance on this. The NC Department of Labor says the employer does have to notify employees, again, while maintaining that confidentiality. The governor's office says if an employee tests positive, the company must tell the local health department, but then it's up to the health department to determine if the case is enough of a health risk to tell the public. Procter & Gamble told us they began contact tracing and sanitation while awaiting test results for this employee. The governor's executive order gives guidelines for increased cleaning at companies, and Procter & Gamble says it was already doing that before this case. Now, the NC Department of Labor also says if you are concerned that your employer is not following these guidelines, you can file a complaint either with your local health department or with OSHA.
Grace, thank you. Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. California authorities say a body was found in a lake where authorities were searching for a missing actress. Glee star Naya Rivera went missing on July 8th after she took her son out to swim. Surveillance showed them going onto the water, but that's it. Her son was later found asleep in the boat by himself. He says his mother never came back with him from swimming. Now, the body found in the lake has not yet been identified. John Travolta confirms his wife, Kelly Preston, has died. Preston died following a 2-year battle with breast cancer. The actress was known for her roles in Jerry Maguire and Twins. Travolta and Preston married in 1991 after meeting on a set. They have 3 children together. Preston was 57 years old. And the grandson of Elvis Presley has died at age 27. Benjamin Keough reportedly took his own life in California on Sunday. Keough is the son of Lisa Marie Presley. Keough was also a musician, last seen in public with his family during a vigil at Graceland for the 40th anniversary of the King's death.
Time to check a forecast, and we are looking at some temperatures out there, especially with our neighbors to the south in South Carolina. It's scorching down that way. Columbia is always hot, though, but 94 degrees in Columbia, 93 in Charlotte. Now, we dropped to the 80s for our area, Triad at 86. Raleigh up to 91. It's 75 in Fayetteville. They've had some showers down that way. That's why it's so much cooler. And then Wilmington and Myrtle Beach in the upper 80s. So tonight, partly cloudy skies eventually, and we'll see that overnight low at 68 degrees. It's going to be a hot one again tomorrow, 91. Remember, though, this time of the year, we should be in the upper 80s. So that's only 2 or 3 degrees above normal. Look at the radar, and the majority of the activity is to the south. I remember we mentioned Fayetteville being in the 70s right now. That's a rain-cooled 70. In Troy and Montgomery County, in that neck of the woods, we are seeing some heavier thunderstorms. Not so much over the heart of the Triad. It can change at any time, but for now, we're rain-free, and we'll watch. But you can see around Southern Pines down toward Rockingham and Albemarle, that's where we're seeing lightning strikes and heavier rains that way. Again, the southeastern part of our state with that frontal boundary there, that's why we're seeing that. And the high pressure ridge will move in and will remain hot and fairly clear. Rain chances will be slim over the next couple of days, and really over the next maybe even 3 or 4. Long range forecast 91 for Tuesday, Wednesday, 92 on Thursday, and we lock in at 93 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Not a lot of change. Rain free for the most part. It's only a 20 or a 30% chance of a shower every afternoon and evening. We'll take a short break, and we're coming right back. Well, it is official now. Washington, D.C.'s NFL team is officially retiring its nickname and logo. They will no longer be called the Washington Redskins. The franchise announced this morning the controversial name would indeed be changed. Washington's NFL team had used that nickname since 1933. Now, this comes after a team launched a thorough review of the Redskins name on July 3rd. Owner Dan Snyder originally said the nickname should not be changed, but he reversed course after the weight put on him amid calls for social justice changes in the United States sparked by the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. By the way, a new team name has yet to be determined.
So today on my Facebook page, I asked, what do you think the new name should be? Here's what some of you had to say. Raquette says, what about the Washington Gladiators? Mandy Templeton says, Washington Warriors. Brittany Wall says, personally, I like the Washington Red Tails. Regardless of the name, I will always be a fan. Brooke Thomas says, what indigenous tribes were/are native to that area? They could change it to one of those tribe names with permission and compensation to the tribe, and then maybe they wouldn't have to change their name or mascot depending on how accurately it is depicted, or maybe add extra details to their existing image to make it more accurately reflect that tribe. Very thoughtful answer. Thank you for that, Brooke. And James writes, the Washington 5-11s, their record every year. So a little jab to the record there. You know, I was looking at some of those names and the most common ones, Eric, and some of the big ones that the sports bettors are saying, maybe Red Tails, the Generals, and the Presidents.
Well, the president. So that's interesting. I do like the person that said whatever tribes were native to that area. That's interesting because that also brings to mind the Florida State Seminoles, and I don't think that they will probably change because that was the big tribe in the Florida region. To me, that's kind of paying tribute to them if you name the tribe instead of doing a term. And so I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I do like the presidents. That's kind of cool.
Right, and I've been doing a lot of research about this, and there was a story that came out recently. It was the son of the artist. He's like, I don't want it to be changed. We worked together to create this logo the way it was, and it was honoring the person that it was founded in honor of.
Interesting.
So I don't know if it's the name that's the issue or the logo.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I would say, yeah, that's a really good question. I'm not sure. I did hear someone say, could we call them the Washington Natives because they were Native Americans? But then you got that logo issue again. So I don't know. I'll vote presidents at this point.
Yeah, a lot of conversations to be had in this topic. You know, chime in on this conversation if you're watching on the WFMY News 2 live stream, either on Twitter or on Facebook, and let us know what you think. What should the name be? We'll be right back.
You know, sometimes kids have a tough time when they're trying to make that jump from high school to college. Plus, deciding what course of study you want to do, that can be very difficult as well. Well, the folks at Forsyth Country Day School in Louisville, they have a new program. It's called the GAP program, and it might just be the answer. I chatted with John Stubblefield about this. John, let's chat about this program because, you know, more and more we hear that sometimes kids get out of high school and they're not quite ready for the real world yet. They don't know which direction to go. How does the GAP program help them?
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on. The GAP program is designed to help students who maybe just aren't sure of what's next, to help them ask those really crucial questions about what do I want to do in life? What are my skills? What are my strengths? Part of what we're going to do is really work to help them find their purpose, their why. And so it's taking the time to be intentional. It's not really so much a year off, but it's a year on. It's a year on to figure out what's next and to be best prepared for what's ahead.
So how do you do that? How do you assess a kid's direction? Because, I mean, let's face it, that's a huge undertaking, a big responsibility,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely. So we've designed the program to be progressive. So it's a trimester system. The first trimester will be much more structured, a lot of skill building, everything from time management to personal finance, trying to find your purpose, things that you enjoy doing, but also match the strengths that you have. And then the second trimester is a bit of a hybrid option. It'll be a little bit more flexible, not as structured. We'll try to find some internships. It might be a week or two. And then as we go into the third trimester, it becomes much more open, where we'll match the students up with some partners in local business for an internship that would be in an area that they enjoy, that they have interest in.
Well, it's a difficult process for kids, that's for sure, when they're coming out of high school. This is a great program you're doing. Thanks a lot. And thanks for sharing this with us. This is good. Best of luck. So I asked you on my Facebook page, I was thinking, you know, do you think kids need a gap year between high school and college? And the answer's a little bit all over the place on this, but that's why we like to do this. Sandy says, no, life is tough. You don't always get to put off what you can do now. Yes, things have changed. My daughter thought she was leaving to go to school. Instead, we did encourage her to do her semester locally, and then we'll see how the pandemic is next semester. Yeah, I guess pandemic throws a whole new problem in there. Teresa Riggs says, no, because if they get a year, they may not further their education. They may stop there. We do hear people doing that. It kind of stops that train from rolling. Janelle Stevenson says, yes, because college is very expensive, and that's an expensive investment if you don't know what you want to do. That is true. Tracy says, mine took an 8-year gap. She had time to figure out who she was and what she wanted. She just graduated college this year. It truly was the best decision. Kids don't come in standard packages, so sometimes they have to make their own way. And Ashley Nicole says simply, nope, go to school, don't wait. So lots of different answers there. And I think there are as many answers to this as there are people, you know.
Yeah, honestly, the answers kind of surprised me. For me, if I were an 18-year-old, I would probably choose to take a gap year just because of the pandemic and wanting to have that in-person class experience. And at this point right now, we don't know if that's going to happen. But right. I know if my parents had something to say about it, they would say, find some place to go. You're going somewhere in the fall.
That's right. Yeah, so for the pandemic thing, I think that's a whole new thing. Like, I don't know if I'd want my kid to go right now, but then, like you said, my dad, you know, he told me, he said, you have to go right out of high school. There's no waiting, and you're gonna live here and figure it out. You've got to go and get it over with. And I changed majors a few times, so I had to go to summer school every summer to graduate. You make it work, you know?
Yeah, I will say my mom is watching the live stream right now, so hey, Mom. But I did want to sit out for my first semester because I ended up changing colleges from where I wanted to go originally. And she said, no, you got to go. And now looking back, I think that was the best thing. Not only did I, get that college experience that first year, but I also met lifelong friends that I am still friends with to this day that I wouldn't know if I didn't go that first year.
Well, and I tried. I had a couple other classes that I could have crammed into my senior year to get over with. But I asked my dad, I was like, can I go one more semester and kind of spread those out a little bit? And he said, yeah, if you pay for it. And I said, okay, I'm graduating.
All right, a super senior. Not this time.
That's right.
Not on his dime. All right, well, let us know in the comments. Do you believe in a gap year? Do you think it's something that teens should be doing right now in general and now in light of the pandemic? We'd love to get your insight on this conversation. We'll be right back. In these times, we need some good news, and this definitely qualifies. Little one-year-old Phoebe Freeble from St. Augustine, Florida, has been on a heart transplant list for nearly her entire life, but that all changed recently. This Saturday, her mom received the call that they could proceed with the surgery. Phoebe got her new heart on Sunday. Now, Phoebe was born with a heart defect that caused the left side of her heart to not fully develop. Her mother said she's doing great right now, and they couldn't be happier. And I mean, that's great news on a Monday, because as we all know, Mondays aren't so great, but really great news any day for her, just getting that heart, because you know, you can be on that list for years and years.
A long time, and sometimes it can never happen. It just depends, especially at her age. You know, you have to have the appropriate age. I was reading a little bit about this article earlier today, and the mom said that they told her that sometimes heart transplants are 5 to 10 year fixes. She may have to go through this again and get on the list again, but she said at this point, I'm taking everything I can. That's great news.
Right, and you know, I'm sure they're going to have to adjust to what this new normal is for her now, having that heart and recovery time as well. But in the meantime, just a big praise to whoever, you know, their higher being, because I know this has probably been something that they've been praying about for a long time.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. All right, we'll keep you posted on that, just like we do the forecast too, and we'll see what's happening with that. You're going to look at temperatures that, yeah, it's going to be a little hot for a while. I can tell you that highs just aren't changing a lot. We will stay in the low 90s for the most part. There's a chance Wednesday we could be in the mid 90s, but we'll stay in that low to mid 90 range every day in our 7-day forecast. We're at 86 in Greensboro and Winston-Salem right now. High Point, you're in the low 90s already. It's 88 for Asheboro and 88 for Burlington. Planning forecast shows an overnight low tonight of 68 degrees. Midday temperatures tomorrow, so that'll be your step out temperature. That's 68. 86 with sunshine midday, couple of clouds here and there. The rain chance is only about a 20 to 30% chance each afternoon for our 7-day forecast. We'll have that long range outlook for you coming up in just a few.
Hey there, ice cold milk and an Oreo cookie, they forever go together.
Hello, as coronavirus cases keep spreading across North Carolina, some Greensboro restaurants.
Hey there, Tosh, if you can hear me, the weather computer's acting funky, so Christian is trying to reboot it. I'm assuming it'll be back for the next hit, but keep an eye on it. Okay.
Good afternoon and welcome back to your 4 to 5. I'm Tahisha Moyes alongside Eric Chilton. Maddie has the day off. It is her birthday, so if you think of it, send her some well wishes on her Facebook page. In the meantime, Eric and I are here to inform you, make you feel connected, and let you into our world. You can join the conversation on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter using the hashtag 4 to 5 to stay connected. All right, let's get you to your 4 to 5 roundup right now. Houston leaders want to see another lockdown as coronavirus cases continue to rise. Now, the state had more than 27,000 cases yesterday. Texas Governor Greg Abbott has not been in favor of a statewide mask order, but suggested the state would need to go into lockdown if those case numbers don't fall. The Houston mayor disagrees with the governor's hopes to reopen schools, saying it makes no sense to send students back. In El Paso, city-county health authorities have ordered schools to stay closed until September. And over in Florida, the state had more than 15,000 new coronavirus cases from Saturday to Sunday. That's the largest number of new cases reported in a state in one day since the start of the pandemic. It's also the third day in a row Florida reported more than 10,000 new cases. Florida's governor said 1,000 personnel are going around to hospitals across the state to help with treatments. He also said that the state is expecting a shipment of remdesivir. The head of the largest hospital in Florida said in an interview that healthcare workers have proper supplies and equipment to deal with the rising number of cases. And just a friendly reminder, you have 2 days left to file your taxes for this year. The deadline extended, if you remember, from April to July 15th because of the pandemic. Now, you can file for an extension if you need to, but that only covers paperwork. If you owe money, you will still have to pay that balance by Wednesday. That extension gave you 6 months from April 15th, not the July date. And today marks the day Krispy Kreme made its debut in Winston-Salem. Vernon Rudolph started making donuts in a rented building back in 1937. He used the recipe from a New Orleans French pastry chef. Now, the name Krispy Kreme was in that recipe, and so Rudolph decided to keep it. He sold those donuts to local grocery stores before people started asking for their own personal batches. And then by the 1960s, there were Krispy Kreme stores throughout the Southeast. Now let's go into some history here. Rudolph built a mix plant to make dry dough to deliver to each store. He then hired engineers to make Krispy Kreme donuts, make equipment there. And Beatrice Foods bought Krispy Kreme after Rudolph died in 1973.
Well, Governor Roy Cooper expected to announce what school will look like in the fall. A lot of people waiting for this. This should happen sometime this week. By the way, parents and leaders have been extremely vocal about this situation. Our sister station in South Carolina spoke with a group that will be probably the most impacted going back to school, the kids.
Well, the coronavirus happened. I miss seeing my friends and my classmates, and then doing activity, school subjects like science, social studies, math.
It's been very tough not seeing my friends and not seeing my teachers in person. It's been tough doing schoolwork over a video chat.
It was hard doing online school because you couldn't talk to a friend when you needed a little help, or there's so many distractions at home, and at school it's just the teacher and you and your work.
A face mask and hand sanitizer, washing our hands, not being so close to people.
Mask, hand sanitizer, gloves. That's all.
Because so the pandemic can slow down more and more, so there won't be any more people that have COVID and all that.
Well, I think if we go back, you should wear masks to school for the whole day.
When the numbers go down. Because it's there's a whole crowd getting tested, and there's probably a lot of people have it, and we need the numbers to go down. Stay safe, be calm, and this is going to be over soon.
Just be calm, Eric.
That's right. Keep calm and go back to school is what he's saying. You know what I love is I love that kids are they're so honest. That's the most honest interview you'll ever do in your life as a journalist is to interview a child.
Yeah, because they just tell you like it is. But, I really feel for the kids because this is unprecedented. I can't even imagine what they're going through. I think to myself when I was as young as they are, and I don't really think I would be able to wrap my head around exactly what was happening and why I couldn't see my friends, But I also feel for the teachers. The teachers have so much asked of them already. And then on top of this pandemic, maybe being asked to go back to school and they don't feel safe there to begin with.
My kids, the younger ones that are in elementary school, they just miss their friends so much. And I'll be honest with you, and the teachers. So when they would do their Zoom classes, and they could see their teachers, and sometimes they'd have theme days where they all have to wear, whatever it was, Pirate Day or whatever it is. They would have so much fun and they missed their teachers. Now, one time I actually saw one of mine kind of tearing up a little bit because they missed their teacher that badly. So there's a little bit of an emotional tie-in for all this as well.
Yeah, there really is. And remember, there was those teachers that were going around to their students' houses in the beginning of the pandemic to just be able to wave at them and say, hello, I'm here for you any way I can,
It's true. Well, in the back to school debate, of course, that creates a whole nother issue for parents. If you think about this, we're talking about childcare here. This is huge. Many parents preparing to go back to their offices, but what if the kid doesn't go back to school? Who will be around to watch the kids? Let's connect the dots.
This pandemic, along with school closures, is creating a child care crisis. Let's connect the dots. We still don't know if schools will reopen this fall. Even if they do, many districts are opting for staggered schedules, with students learning remotely at least part of the week. That's bad news for millions of working parents, many now being called back to the office. That means there aren't a lot of options for childcare. Grandparents who used to step in to help can't because they're part of the population most vulnerable to the virus. But the pandemic could also have unintended consequences for daycare centers. One study estimates that the pandemic could put half of them out of business. That would cut millions of slots for young kids, and fewer slots would increase demand, driving up the already sky-high price of childcare. And that is connecting the dots.
I mean, that's a lot of money and a lot of, some people will just have unanswered questions until they know exactly what's going on. It'll be difficult.
Right, and I know the governor is expected to make some kind of decision for us here in North Carolina this week, and hopefully that gives us, from July to September for parents and grandparents to try to figure out, okay, what is going on here in the next few months?
It's just unprecedented. There's no real quick answer, that's for sure. Parents, we'll keep you posted as we get more information, of course. And right now, let's talk about our weather, because as we head into the next week, we are seeing some changes that some of you may say, you know what, I don't want weather this hot. I just want to show you our 7-day forecast, because this kind of gives you an idea. By the way, too, we had a little bit of a tech issue, so we've upgraded and fixed things here. So the 7-day, this is, we had a couple days that had bad temperatures that were wrong. They're corrected now. So, but it's all still the same. By the way, it was only off by about a degree or two. But just to be accurate here, it's what we do. 91 degrees for tomorrow. Upper 60s will be your overnight lows tonight. So that's what you'll feel when you step out in the morning. But look at the symbol across the board. It's basically partly cloudy today through Thursday, and then partly cloudy with a chance of a late day thunderstorm pop up. Typical summertime stuff for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Our temps really aren't changing a great deal. Only a 3-degree difference on any day in high temperatures. 91, that would be the coolest high we see. We see that tomorrow. Wednesday, 94. That's getting too hot there. 93 and 92 Thursday, Friday. Your weekend, 91 and 92. We hold that 92 into Monday. Again, we're looking at overnight lows. Pretty much, except for tonight's upper 60s, we'll see low 70s for overnight lows for the entire 7-day forecast. And by the way, rain chances, best shot will be Friday, Saturday. But again, a 30 or 40% chance of a late day pop-up shower or storm is completely normal. It's what we usually see this time of the year. We just actually see reduced rain chances for all the other days in the 7-day forecast. So one thing we can say, folks, we are at least consistent, if nothing else, in our forecast.
So my friend here is asking, does that really happen? We can ask that question about all sorts of things, can't we?
Oh, yes, especially on social media. People love to do that on social media.
They do. Yeah. Okay, so something that's been going around long before there was social media or the internet. Are you ready for it? Here it is.
Hey, Publishers Clearinghouse could be headed your way with a whole lot of money.
That's right, Terry. You could win $7 grand a week for life.
Oh, wow. $7 grand a week for life, man. Come on. Yeah. But you gotta be in it to win it.
Oh, yes, that's right. These commercials, I have been seeing them a whole lot lately. Now, you and I have both done stories on people who actually have won Publishers Clearinghouse.
Yes, it's very few and far between, but people do win, and they're just as surprised as we are when they find out that they actually won.
Yes, that is key. They are surprised. The people who do win, there are plenty of scammers out there who are trying to cash in and make you think that you have won. So if you get a call ahead of time,
it's probably not, because I haven't entered anything, which is a big part of it too.
Yes, so coming up, a look at past winners right here in the Triad, and also a few stories of big losses and how to know when it's real, when it's not. All right, the coronavirus situation, it is always changing, right? We want to make sure that you get your questions answered. You can talk with a Cone Health expert tonight. What you need to do is text us your questions to get your questions answered. 336-379-5775. Again, this is a text. We will see you at 5:30.
Yeah, it's on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Might check 1, 2.
So this is a story that has definitely been trending all day long. The Washington Redskins announcing that they will soon retire their name and logo. And obviously this has people talking. Digital guru expert Jalen Gilkey has been watching the conversation online. What are people saying, Jalen?
Yeah, Tahisha, we had over 600 people comment on this post alone. We got very strong feelings on both sides. Let's jump into our first comment. It comes from Brandy. She said they had to change the mascot to her kids' high school as well, keeping the name, not the mascot. And this has just been a trending throughout the country with these social justice movements going on. Lee says, I am done with football. This was my team. Way too much politics. Our next comment comes from John. He says, the owners have the freedom to change the name of their business identity, and the consumer has the freedom to spend their money elsewhere. And our last comment comes from Ethan. He says, all these people are upset over a sports team name. It's been offensive for years. Glad it's gone. If you decide not to support a team just because the name changed, were you really a fan in the first place? I think that's a great question there posed from Ethan.
600 comments, Jalen. That is a lot of people chiming in on this. I mean, there are very few posts that we have on the Facebook page that have this conversation this riled up.
Yeah, Tash is just a magnet and such a popular team name, especially because we're kind of close to the area. A lot of people are Migrant fans and are just fans in the area because, you know, the Panthers didn't come around in '94. So this is a near and dear topic to many people in the area.
Right, and now the next question is, what will the name be? I know Washington Generals, the Presidents, Red Tails are some of the top three. What do you think of those?
I like those names. I like the Presidents. I also, the Generals is a good one as well. You know, just it sticks with the DC theme being the capital. Many options. Can't wait to see what they come up with. Very small window of time left.
Yeah, and that's something that we will be following. Thank you so much, Jalen, and keep chatting with us about this on our live streams, and we'll be sure to comment back. Well, if you are seeing more snakes out and about, you are not alone. Experts at the Greensboro Science Center say snakes are usually most active this time of year because of the warmer weather. Now, our state is home to 37 species of snakes. 6 of them are venomous. Jennifer Larson says the one you will see the most often is the black rat snake, and they can get up to 6 to 8 feet long.
But if you find a snake in the yard, just leave it alone. It will go about its business. It wants nothing to do with us. In the house, you can gently relocate them just out into the yard. Likely they followed the scent of something tasty, like a mouse or a rat, into the house.
And that rat's name is Panther, in case you were wondering. Well, other wildlife experts say if you are seeing more snakes, it could also be because of our weather. We barely had a winter, and we jumped from spring to summer relatively quickly. In Guilford County, the only venomous snake that you'll find is the copperhead.
So it's got that sort of brown pattern, and it'll be in the Hershey's Kiss kind of shaped pattern. And the very young ones will have a little yellow tip to their tail. So those are the ones where you want to make sure you do leave them alone.
Pest control experts say if you do see a lot of snakes near your house, you could have a rodent or a pest control issue since snakes like to be near food. When I heard that, I said, okay, now you have 2 problems on your hands,
Right.
Multiple intruders in your living space. I am not the one to play with snakes, so if I see them, I'm just leaving them.
Yeah, I don't do snakes. I don't like snakes. And I know they serve a good purpose. My wife understands this better than I do. You'll laugh, Tage, because you know both of us and you think this is funny. So there was literally about a 5-foot black snake on our back patio one time. We were all looking at it through the window. And my wife says, oh, I'm gonna go out there and move it. I said, what? And I said, no, I'll go out there with a garden hoe and we'll take care of this. She goes, no, you're not. And she got a rake. I wouldn't go close to it. She got a rake and picked it up. And then I thought she just flipped it back out in the yard.
Just not here.
What?
This is not your spot. Sorry.
Right.
Gotta go.
But I get it. I get you shouldn't. They actually help. They help things, but that's not for me.
Yeah, but if you see the snakes, maybe call a pest control expert because there could be a deeper lying issue there.
Thank
All
you.
right, more of the 4 to 5 when we come back.
Hi there. What we've learned here, if you have a snake problem, call Leslie Chilton, not Eric Chilton.
You know, COVID-19 has slowed down or in some cases just completely stopped a lot of live music performances. But one long-standing event still is thinking about its audience and how they're going to pull this off this year. I spoke with Atiba Berkeley of the Piedmont Blues Preservation Society about the Carolina Blues Festival. He said this year should be a combination of live and virtual. Atiba, so I know a lot of people are pooling resources these days to kind of keep their events going, and that's what you guys are doing with the Folk Festival. How does that work between the two of you?
Well, it's been great. The Folk Festival approached us about collaborating, and it was right on time. We were really up against a deadline to decide whether we were going to have to cancel. Through the collaboration, we were able to not cancel, but actually probably bolster our efforts and make both organizations stronger. It's been such a unique time, and we really didn't want our community to miss out on either of our events. So the opportunity to collaborate the weekend of September 11th through 13th.
Yeah, it's funny when you talk about blues, a lot of people think about the old days and early days of blues, but they're alive and well now. I mean, what are you seeing with blues in North Carolina these days?
Yeah, blues today is booming and great. It feels as good as it ever has. Here in North Carolina, we have so many different styles of blues. North Carolina has its own original regional style of blues, which is something very few parts of the country claim, with Piedmont style picking, which is actually the beginning of the first pop music the world ever knew.
Now, will we have both festivals going on simultaneously, or are these just pooling resources to make sure that both happen?
We will have some shared content. The Folk Festival presenting 3 days of programming digitally, with 2 hours per day. It will be pre-recorded, working with the Great Seven Cinematics. The Blues Society is also planning on broadcasting some of that content with them.
Well, music is so important, all genres of music, and I'm so glad you guys are joining together. Thanks for being with us today. We appreciate it. Best of luck. Yeah, it's great because you think about the North Carolina Folk Festival and the Carolina Blues Festival. That's September 11, 12, and 13. I've got information. You can go to WFNYnews2.com, look for this story. It'll be up in a little while, and so you can link to their website. But this is going to be a great thing that they're keeping that tradition alive, because blues is one of the oldest genres, and a lot of the roots of blues go back to the South and in North Carolina.
Yeah, and I mean, it just seems like week after week we're hearing more of these big in-person events going virtual, and it's kind of like you have to have at least that as a backup plan at this point, because we don't know where the state will be come September.
And they do have some acts that they've promised will be coming in. It's just a matter of how many people will actually be able to see it live. There may be a few, but that'll be, you know, they'll figure that out when it gets a little bit closer. Let's talk about our forecast, shall we? Because we are hot, hazy, and humid for a while, and it does not look like it's going to change very much. Look at this 7-day, 91 degrees tomorrow. The hottest day will be 94 on Wednesday, and then we'll hover in the low 90s. And we really don't change very much. 91 to 94 for the range of highs for all 7 days. Overnight lows tonight, the coolest in the upper 60s. After that, it's low 70s across the board. Partly cloudy every day, reduced rain chances Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, a 40% Friday, Saturday, but that's normal. All of that stuff, a late day pop-up isolated shower or storm.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock, Governor Roy Cooper is expected to make an announcement this week if we will move on to phase 3. But one Greensboro restaurant is choosing to scale back to phase 1. You're weighing in our question of the day. Which phase do you think is best for North Carolina right now? What you're saying next on WFMY News 2 at 5.
Hi, mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check.
Normally at this time, the patio here at Natty Greens right behind me would be buzzing with outdoor diners. But as you can see, the parasols.
Hello, good evening everyone. Mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. We are mic checking.
Hi there, 1 2 3 restaurant scaling back.
Hi, mic check. Mic check 1 2 3. It's time for my 2 cents. Take a look. She probably won't be out for long, but my natural hair is making her first appearance on News 2. This weekend I went and got my hair cut and straightened, and to be honest with you, I had no idea what I was working with underneath my wigs. I spent most of Sunday doing this, just shaking it back and forth, playing with it. And I really felt like a new woman. And it made me think about the power of a haircut. It's like an instant confidence boost, right? And when you are confident, you project that energy into the world. For many of us, our hair is a reflection of who we are. It's one of our most prominent features. And when your hair doesn't look its best, many times we don't feel our best. But when that changes, your outlook on life can change too. You know that quote by Coco Chanel, "A woman who cuts her hair is about to change her life." I don't know quite yet what that change is for me, but I'll be thinking. But here's what I do know. A haircut can be a fresh start, a way to get rid of excess baggage, a way to have control when things seem to be out of our control. It can be a way to send a message both to ourselves and the world. So those are just a few musings of mine after getting a haircut. That's my 2 cents and your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.